I want to ask you a question, and I want you to take a beat and reflect before you answer it. When the administration of Donald Trump and Trump himself say, we brought in 10 trillion, 15 trillion, 18 trillion dollars from overseas or from tariffs, when he says either of those, do you believe Trump genuinely believes that, as ridiculous as it is? Or do you think Trump knows he's lying and the people in his administration know it's a lie, but they say it because they think their followers will believe it? Okay, I want to talk about that lie. Donald Trump has variably claimed that he brought in trillions of dollars from his overseas trips and getting gifts from his Middle East buddies, and that he has brought in $18 trillion from his tariffs in the last 10 and a half months. Not over a period of decades, but just the tariffs have brought in $18 trillion. Not billions, but $1 trillion, 18 of them. Now, I want to put aside for a moment that the tariffs aren't really money that is being brought in, because it's money that is American money paid by American companies to the American government. You import steel from China, well, you pay China for the steel, and then you pay the US government for the tariff on that steel. The American company pays the American government. Put that aside for a second. Let's just talk about the scale. And this might be useful also because it's good to conceptualize the size of the American economy. The American economy is about $27 trillion. If it were true that Donald Trump's tariffs have brought in $18 trillion, he could pay down a massive chunk of the national debt tomorrow. And in fact, it would be a heroic thing. Remember that before Donald Trump's first term, he told us he's going to pay off the national debt within one term. In fact, he blew up the deficit and grew the debt faster, much faster, than President Obama had. So either Donald Trump really has brought in $18 trillion and he's about to solve America's debt crisis, or this is nonsense and there is no one around Trump willing to challenge him on it, or Trump knows he's lying, and he's lying because he thinks the people he's lying to are going to fall for it. Now let's again look at the math. The federal government doesn't even collect $18 trillion from all taxes combined, okay? Tariffs have, quote, brought in, and again, the money was already here. It's paid by American companies. Tariffs have represented $236 billion this calendar year based on Treasury data. Not 18 trillion, not 8 trillion, not 1 trillion, $236 billion. Over a decade, that would be expected to raise about $2.3 trillion for the federal government. But remember, paid by American companies. It's nowhere close to $18 trillion. To raise $18 trillion in a single year through tariffs, imports would all need to be taxed around 600%. Now, if you did that, it would be economic disaster. Imports would collapse, trade would stop, tariff revenue would basically go to zero because there would be no trade to put tariffs on. So the claim isn't just wrong, it is a mathematically and politically impossible claim. This gets us to the question I started with. Does Trump know this is a lie, or does he actually believe it? Or is this something darker, which is a test of loyalty? These are common in cults, and these are common in authoritarian regimes. Everyone is expected to nod along to something they know isn't true. We talked about this in the aftermath of the 2020 election. We talked about it in the context of, do Republican voters really believe that the election was stolen by Joe Biden and that Trump was the rightful winner? Or are they saying it to signal that they are part of the in-group, part of the cult? Really common in cults and authoritarian regimes. Leader says something absurd, you show loyalty by repeating it uncritically. Not because it makes sense to you, because if you contradict it, you are saying that you are disloyal. So when Trump says we took in, he's quietly mixing tax revenue with private investment promises, money that doesn't go to the government, money that doesn't reduce the deficit, money that doesn't even materialize. It's like claiming you got rich because someone said they were going to invest money in you or in your business at some point in the future. That's what Trump is basically doing here. And even the White House's own tracker, their most generous spin, puts the number at 9.6 trillion. So even when Trump says 18, it's a number that is inflated, speculative, and not even the White House's own number. So again, I want to hear from you. Is Trump lying, deeply confused, assuming his followers won't know the difference, or worse, he knows they'll repeat it either way because they know loyalty is the currency that matters most right now. This matters specifically because tariffs are real taxes that raise prices and hurt people, justified with fantasy numbers. And if Trump really had 18 trillion bucks lying around, our debt would be shrinking quickly. It's not, and that tells you just about everything you need to know. The David Pakman Show gear store is up and running. davidpakman.com/gear. Get your hoodies, t-shirts, coffee cups, hats, all sorts of stuff. We're adding new items every day. davidpakman.com/gear. Appreciate you watching. Stick around for this next video, and don't forget to hit subscribe so you actually see our uploads. You can also catch the full podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.